What's up, everybody? This is your girl, Butta B-Rocka. Look, today is a special day. We are breathing. Breathe in, breathe out. Let's bring it on in, everybody. It's all about that energy. Look, we got a good show for you today. But before I bring on my guests, I want you guys to make sure that you are elevating your mind. Go out for a walk. Do a lot of things. There's so many things that you can do creatively right now, especially with, the COVID and everybody not really being able to be out as much as they would like. Do something to elevate your mind. In the meantime, make sure that you got my book, Fear of Failure, Fear of Not Trying. It is an Amazon bestseller. And also my boys magazine, Defiant Ones Teen Magazine, for teens by teens. And with that being said, I am super excited to bring on my guest. He is an author, a personal trainer, a coach, a model. I think he has many hats. We're gonna bring on Mr. Garth Voisin. Please tell me I said it right.
Yeah, you did. Like I said,
I didn't think about it. I just
did
went
not overthink it.
Yeah. So how you doing?
I'm good. Excited to be, here talking to you. It's been a while. So.
It has been a while. I haven't seen you in a couple of years.
Yeah.
You where did you now live in where?
Texas.
Oh, okay. But you went back overseas.
Yeah, I actually went back to Trinidad where I'm from. Was helping out with some clubs over there, some fitness clubs over there for a little bit. So kind of back and forth. Then moved back up to New York, and then about a year before all this stuff happened, I've been back in Texas. So
okay, I didn't even know you was back in the States. So can you go ahead and tell everybody a little bit about your background, and then I'll get into all my other questions.
All right. I think background would start from coming from Trinidad and Tobago, from the island of Trinidad and Tobago. Definitely active in sports, but had a love for journaling, which is weird at my, growing up. It was like, hey, what do you like to do? I like to write. So it was weird. I was asked the question, did I see myself as an author? I did not. I loved journaling, writing my thoughts down. It was my way of communicating. And it's also my way of getting that stuff out of my brain, because I always was thinking about something. Moved to the United States a long time ago, and just wanted to do more, wanted to see more. I felt like there was always more to get done, and I felt like I was in a position where I needed to change myself or transplant myself from where I was to somewhere else to be able to expand and grow into who I think or who I would have liked to become. Since then, I've had 4 books written. I've done GNC ad campaign in Trinidad for their franchise. I've done a couple of music videos here and there. But the main thing is I've been able to continue my love for writing. That is my main thing. And now I'm to be the founder of the Dear Men Project website, which creates trying to build a bridge between men and themselves and the people that love them. It's just mainly a form of effective communication between men and themselves and the people that are around them, to help them to understand a little bit better and to help the guys feel more comfortable, because now they may have a forum or have an environment where they are not judged as much and they can express themselves.
They can express themselves. Okay, so this Dear Men Project, the one you're representing, you had quoted about building a bridge between men and themselves. So yes. You want them to, you're going to take them on this journey to do what? Give me some insight.
Well, the journey is going to be one of acceptance. It's one where you accept who you are, just as you would accept responsibility. Sometimes you have to accept who we are and where we came from and what we want out of our own lives. The bridge idea comes from the fact that sometimes we don't know ourselves. We just continue to play this role, different relationships, different environments. We continue to play a role of somebody else beside ourselves because we feel that we could be judged, or we have a fear that somebody will look at us in a different type of way. The idea is to help the man to be more comfortable with himself and then to now grow from there. So it's like if you're going to replant the seed and grow into what you're supposed to be. So I think it's mainly acceptance and being able to understand yourself. And that way, I think if you're able to understand yourself better, you can actually help to explain yourself better or effectively communicate more about what your thoughts are, and then kind of switch your actions up a little bit so that it more deals with who you are as a person.
Right. I think also I read about a lot of your quotes and everything from your pages and stuff. You also have in there a little bit of accountability for men as well. Like you really talk and address a little bit of everything, and I really like that.
Yeah, I think we could go where we go on the side of the woman or side of the man. We could do that, right? I think in that aspect of it, there's not much accountability because it's just taking sides. There's some stuff that as men we continue to use as a clutch or as an excuse.
Yeah.
And funny enough, there are men that play the victim as well. And so this is me being transparent enough with them and telling them the truth about stuff, or helping them to discover the truth about themselves. It's for them to be accountable, because if I want to, I would like your respect, or if I have a certain expectation that I would like set and met at the same time, I have to be able to have the actions to follow that up. We're in an area where a lot of men are being silent, and then they're misunderstood because they're silent.
Right.
But then if you want something, it's no longer time for the mind reader girlfriend or the mind reader wife or the mind reader friend or whatever your relationship is. There's no longer time for the mind reader. We have to be able to express ourselves and effectively communicate the things that we expect,
yeah,
the things that we want.
Yeah. So you also have a book, The Journey Continues, Evolve. Can you tell everybody about that book? I have that one, by the way.
Look at that. Thank you for supporting. The journey continues to evolve. For me, was a way of sharing my journey with other people and it being relatable. I've had other books in the past and they've all had the same concept in terms of the journey continues. And this one was where it's like the evolve part would signify growth. Yeah. And at that time when I did write that book, it did signify some growth in my own life and helped me to understand things a little better and to share with other people, to be a better listener. It also helped me to see that I'm not the only one going through certain things. Mm-hmm. So that's what I wanted to kind of get out there. And there's also a part in the book for you to write your own thoughts and for you to reflect on the last month. That part was important to me because that was something that my mom had in one of those daily bread books that she used to carry around for years and be like, hey, read this morning. So I thought that would have been a good idea to put your thoughts in there, and then normally it's in pen or pencil because you want to go back and say, okay, well, look how far I have come, look how far I've evolved from last month, because now I'm more comfortable with my thoughts.
Yeah. So you really stressed about investing in your own journey. What do you mean by that?
I think a lot of times we forget the controllables and the things that we don't have control over. I think what we do have control over for our own journey is the choice and the action or the act of having something to choose from. I think investing in your own journey, which I talk about all the time, you're right. I do express myself all the time when it comes to that, because I feel as though if you invest your time and your effort into your journey, the results will more or less, it would show itself. And if it does not, it's on you. So it's like taking away that victim mentality or that blame of blaming somebody else. I didn't grow up this way, or my mom didn't do this, my dad didn't do that, or people just don't like me. That type of mentality. And again, it's right back to accountability. And now you getting the results that you want from the effort that you put into it.
Yeah. Now, how important is self-care, and what is your daily routine for self-care?
Ooh, that is good. I spoke about that today. I love that. So self-care for me at this part of the journey is a bit of meditation and some yoga. I've even jumped into some Pilates classes recently just to kind of see what it was about. They kick my butt, but it's fine.
Yeah.
But I think the main thing for me now is a little bit of meditation. I'm up really early in the morning. I'm like 4 o'clock, 4:30. I prefer that time of the day to start my writing and to be more creative. But the first thing I do is I do give a lot of thanks for another day and for being able to use what I have.
Right, so gratification.
Yeah, and I try to center myself a lot these days, more than I would have in the last, let's say, 5 years. I think now I'm more of finding my center and being able to have a sense of clarity.
Gotcha. Okay. So what's, everybody knows, well, now they know that you're a personal trainer and everything. What's your nutrition like? What do you eat?
Ooh. Well, I'm a retired personal trainer now.
Okay.
But I've lived this lifestyle for a long time where I've been able to enjoy certain things. I'm from the islands, so our food is never like as healthy as you would find in a Whole Foods. Our food has a lot of different seasons, it's a lot of different tastes, but I'm still able to enjoy that. I think for the most part, the nutrition part of what I do is I actually have a lot of routine meals or I prepare a lot of meals that I have initially just for the fact that I feel as though that has helped me to stay within a certain parameter for a long time. And sometimes they say when you get to a certain age, certain things happen to you. I think if you don't maintain before you get there, it's gonna be a lot more difficult. So nutrition-wise, I still eat pretty clean or healthy, as they would say. I do love ice cream. I do love, Costco has some muffins and a thing there, man. If I get a hold of those, I could eat all of them. But again, it's nothing in excess, so I think it kind of balances itself out when it comes to it.
I think because you can indulge in these sweets and in these different things because your metabolism is so fast, because you, I'm assuming, work out all the time.
Not all the time. It's mainly because the amount of sugars and sodium and all that stuff that I normally take in is not as much anyhow. So when I do take in some extra sugars, it's not really extra. It's actually the amount I should have had there before, because the food is so, sometimes it's just bland. Like if you're being transparent, it's bland food at times. So if you get something that's so sweet, it doesn't really affect the body as much. And then mentally you're like, oh, I need to go run tomorrow. I mean, it does play on the mind a lot. So.
Right. So you are a coach. In this new climate, dealing with COVID and everything, how do you keep people motivated?
It's more support these days. These days it's more support. A lot of people want, I think I mentioned this earlier, they want a good listener. They want somebody that can listen to what they have to say. I've had a few people that, I've not had as clients per se, like to say on the books clients, but I've had people who would just reach out to talk, and I've been there to listen. Sometimes when they finish have the conversation, they feel a lot better, and that's it. Like, each day we need some type of support, some type of motivation. Sometimes it's ourselves, sometimes it's just somebody listening to what we have to say. I also encourage them to not think that happiness is a long-term thing, and it's more or less of a temporary emotion, a temporary sense. And I think once they understand that, they understand that they're going to have good and bad days, but then they have to be able to pull themselves back into a mentality or frame of mind to be a little bit more positive minded.
Yeah, but you do have some people that I mean, they're just draining. Like I think they look at the news too much. I'm not a news person because there's too much negativity for me. But you do have some people that the world is gonna end, and everything they say is just so negative. But they want to be motivated, but you'll say something positive to them, and then they'll come with a rebuttal of, but the sky is falling. And then you say something else positive, and then they come with something else. How do you get them to shift? I think it's a mind shift that they need.
They do need a mind shift. But, one of the things I've learned so far, and every day I'm learning something different, but I think one of the things I've learned so far is that there's some people that you have to take that cape off that you just can't help.
Yeah.
There's some people that they're stuck in a way of thinking that's not going to change. And one of the ways of being able to initiate change is for the person to be open to change. So if they're not open to change and you keep having the same problem over and over again, like, I'm not going to say beat your head on the ground or onto a wall, because if that person's not open to change, it came like training clients before. I do inspire both body and mind. That's why I write a lot, because
Right.
I felt at the time when I had clients, if I can get into their mental, if I can get into their mindset and change the mindset about how they eat, how they work out, and what time they get up and enough sleep, then they would not have the action to follow. So same thing with somebody that comes to you and says, hey, I want all this help. Okay, well, after 2 months of me trying to help you, I am really, really willing to give you your money back.
Yeah.
Because for me, I'm trying to help. I'm trying to support. I'm trying to be that person to help you, like you say, with a mind shift. But if you're not open to it, then I'll just be taking your money.
Yeah.
And if my intention is to just take your money, well, then you're gonna have a couple of those clients.
Yeah.
But I've reached the point where now I'll give you your money back if I realize that this is something that you're purposely choosing to remain in.
Yeah. Okay, so COVID has come, is conquered a lot. How has COVID successfully impacted your business?
I would say it has made people more aware of themselves and being able to reach out to me to talk to me about certain things. And as a coach, you want to be able to create a space for somebody to feel comfortable, right? And now a lot of people are in a space where they're at home and they're very frustrated. And the funny thing about these type of experiences or pandemics or these type of things is that it really makes you do a lot of reflection, and it makes you understand a little bit more about yourself when you put it in a space where you have not a lot of choices. So it does help us, because now people want to talk about stuff. Now everything bothers them. But I wouldn't say that it really benefited me in terms of business is booming now because you have a lot of crazy people. No, you don't. If anything, I have learned to be more creative in the way that I address certain things and what I do. I've not been live since live came on, mainly because I felt as though there was more entertainment and less entertainment. So that was my choice to kind of stay away from that. And then some clients, like I said, I didn't really have clients, paid clients, but I could have them call me if they needed something.
Right.
I was always open to talk to you. I was always ready to have a conversation, and it not be, well, you need to WhatsApp, cash me or Cash App or, PayPal. It was just more or less let's just have a conversation. I think we needed a little bit more support at this time.
Right.
And less of a business sense. Now, I'm not saying that I didn't come up with stuff, like I'm finishing another book, but,
So if you are typically on the road as a coach and as an author and different things like that, and you now can't do that, how are you paying your bills?
Some good investments, I would say that. My son and I had a conversation before this happened, and I made a decision with him not to do something. And then at the beginning of the year, I was kind of set back a little bit, and I was like, wait a minute. I was set back, but it didn't really affect me that much. And I think because of some choices I made just before the end of the year, I was set up in a good place. And I always believe things come together when they're supposed to and how they're supposed to. So now as I reflect on it and I talk to him, I say, remember that time when I spoke about this and I didn't do it? And he's like, yeah. I was like, well, this is what the outcome was in a positive way.
Right.
Also, a lot of times, the whole social media thing, it's a little bit easier to get onto clients, and you can do Zoom calls. Everybody's on a Zoom call. Everybody's on a FaceTime. There are different ways that you can do that, I think. But for me, I've really sustained a lot based on some good investments that has seen me through a lot of these days that would have really made me want to pull my hair out. If I had hair on my head, it would have.
So you got the insight on the good stocks and don't want to share it with the people, huh?
I don't deal with stocks.
Gotcha.
But, yeah.
So what advice would you give to someone who is trying to start writing a book?
I would give them the advice I gave to you a long time ago. To just let it flow. I think a lot of times people overthink the process of writing a book.
Yeah.
My first book was not something that I sat in a room and it was so dark and they were I was in a robe it wasn't that. It was actually a collection of posts, Facebook posts that I posted over a year.
Oh, wow.
I took all of them and I put them to the first book, which was The Journey Continues, Inspirational Food for Your Inspirational Food for Your Journey. And it was all those posts that got a lot more likes, a lot more attention to. I put all of them in an email. I sent them to my publicist. I sent them to people to print them out. She came back, she edited it, she put an ebook, she did all that kind of stuff. And it was not something that was like, oh, I need to really get this page done. There was edits in between.
Yeah.
But the main thing is to have that flow. Like, you know, writing, I always say this. I say writing for me is from God to my mind, to my hand, to the pen. We don't really use pens anymore as much, but you know what I mean.
Yeah.
You know, so just let it flow and not overthink everything. I think it has to be a process that you have to trust the process and just kind of go with it.
Okay. So tell me about your second book, because I'm assuming The Journey Continues to Evolve. Is that the third?
Yeah, The Journey Continues to Evolve is the third book. It was already paperbacks and ebooks. The second book was just an extended version of the first one. So I don't know if you know about the 4-Day Work Week. All right, so 4-Day Work Week by Tim Ferriss, actually. He came out with this book, and it was really cool. I liked the book. I read the book. I was like, this is really good. I took my daughter to the bookstore because she wanted to go read some stuff. Let's go to the bookstore. Let's see what they have. See if we can get something. I also was in talks with getting the book into that bookstore, so that's why I went there initially. And then I saw he had another book, and it was an extended version of his first book. I was like, what? So I was like, okay. And then I actually bought it again. And I was like, well, let me see what all this is about. And then I realized, like, okay, well, let me just extend the first book into the second book. And then let me go there. I mean, I sold out copies of the second book. It was mainly at events. It wasn't online. It wasn't on Amazon. It was just at events. And I did a lot more of that. But the funny thing is, like you say, it was something I saw already. So it's like not reinventing the wheel. I just kind of put my own little twist on it, and I was like, let me just extend the book. And so the second book was an extension of the first book, and it sold out.
Wow.
Which was pretty cool because it was only at events. There was nobody could buy it online. It was me going to different events and selling the books at the event.
Right. Wow, that's really cool. So you got 3 editions of it continuing because it continues to evolve.
Yeah.
Right? I got you.
Yeah.
So let me ask you something. So in all 3 of these, do you reference a little bit of the one before? I would assume you have to kind of get them acclimated as to, you know, this is the continuation. So you got to kind of touch on what you touched on prior to, right?
Well, not really, because the fact of the book is more of a self-help book. So because it's a self-help book and because you continue this journey, you don't need to tie it in like a series.
Gotcha.
So it's mainly the fact that the book is just The Journey Continues, and once you see The Journey Continues title, you know, okay, let me see what else is happening, because and this is gonna be a funny example, but you know, whatever. So I initially used to wear a red hat everywhere I went, right? Even when I met you in the beginning down there, I used to wear a red hat. When I did JB Fitness, I switched colors from blue and orange to red. When I went back home, the company that was doing the GNC ambassador stuff, I got the first ambassador role for GNC in Trinidad, and part of my contract was I need to wear my red hat because I was known for the red hat.
Right.
So when I did the book, The Journey Continues to Evolve, I did use the hat in there, but I also wanted to show that I was past that stage of wearing the red hat everywhere I went. Mm-hmm. And yes, I did this part on that part of the journey, but then on the new part of the journey, it was me evolving, and people didn't realize I was evolving at that point in time, because now I was more looking more at just, okay, well, let's not just do the red hat thing, let's kind of get into something else, like let's evolve. Yeah. And then the thing with that too is when I first started, it was mainly about, okay, well, his pics on Facebook look really good. I like his pics, his avatar, his shirt's off. And then I just started wearing a bunch of clothes, you know, just to kind of shift it a little bit.
That made the ladies mad.
Well, yeah, I mean, but, you know, it's the evolution. Like, you have to
you have to get into different chapters. I mean, we're coming back to some of that because now my focus now is men over 40 in terms of nutrition and all that kind of stuff. And I feel like a lot of people, they make the excuse of, well, I'm over 40 and I can't help it. So again, it's the evolution, and I was just trying to create that. So slowly there was certain changes that I wanted them to see. So in a way, it's connected by the growth over time. But to say like to be connected as a series, it's not really as a series, but it's just a self-help, and I think it gives them a lot of things to reflect on in their own personal journey.
Got you. So, okay, I'm gonna go back to COVID a little bit. Now that COVID is happening and everything, what do you feel about the gyms opening back up?
That's twofold, because if you think about any type of disease, any type of pandemic, any type of strain of the flu or the virus, your immune system is what you have as your defense, right? As a state and as a country and as countries, we will have different precautions of what we think we could do and what we think we can't do. There's no expert in this field because none of us have lived through this before. Right. With the gyms open up, I think if not 99% of the gyms have had different things in terms of proper spacing, cleans all the time. People are required to wear masks when they're working out. Everybody has a fancy mask. One has a hole, one has a thing. Everybody has something fancy, which is cool. So I think you need to be out and about to work out because you need to keep boosting the immune system. Now, this is from the research that they've had from doctors. I don't want to just be skeptical. I'm not a doctor, but so far from what they've researched, you need to boost the immune system. And what better way to boost the immune system than to be working out and to eat healthy and to do all that kind of stuff. The other precautions I think are mainly because there's gathering of a certain amount of people. So most gyms that are opening up now, even here in Texas, there's only a certain amount of people that could be in a gym, and then gyms are normally supposed to cater to a certain 100 of people. So imagine if you had 25 people in a gym that would normally hold 250. Right. There's enough room to easily work out. And again, it is twofold because some people are just kind of skeptical, but the other part of it is how else do you boost your immune system? When we started, halfway through, everybody was working on their quarantine body. Right. At home.
Right. So can you give us some insight as to some additional things that people can do to boost their immune?
Funny enough, sleep is a main thing. The body needs time to recover from stuff and needs that. People talk about like fruit and stuff like that and food. A lot of people talk about the nutrition aspect of it, but sleep is the main thing. I had to learn that because I hardly ever sleep. And at times I find like, there was once or twice, like I really get sick as much. And most people in my family know that. So when I do get sick, they're like, you haven't been resting. So like, I feel as if that's one of the things that people need to get a little bit more of. And they have the opportunity now, a lot of people who were home before, to take that time to rest up and to really, I kind of saw that time as, okay, I'm gonna rest up now and get ready for when things let out so I could just go. I think that's one thing that we as entrepreneurs and we as coaches and all these people pursuing all these things on the journey, we kind of neglect that and not understand that it's pieces of a puzzle to keep the body itself in check. Just like meditation will be for the mind, sleep is for the physical, for the body itself. Just like nutrition would be to feed the body. You have to take care of the body.
Right. Okay. Well, can you tell everybody how they can get in contact with you and where they can follow you at?
All right. So I am on Facebook at Garth Voisin, as you rightfully said. I am on Instagram at I am Garth Voisin. I just have those two main pages. We do have the DMN Project, which is www.dmnproject.com. There are ways to contact me on this site as well. The main form of communication that I mainly do with social media would be Facebook and Instagram. The website is mainly for coaching, and the coaching is not necessarily for young men. It's also for different ages of men. Some parents want to get their kids coached, the boys coached. We do that as well. And also, it's also sometimes just a way to contact me so we can have a conversation, because sometimes people might be going through certain things and they really want to call you they kind of want to email you how they feel about stuff, I respond to emails as well. So I would say Instagram, I am Garth Voisin, Facebook, just simply Garth Voisin, and the DMN Project, www.dmnproject.com.
Okay, so spell that for everybody so that they can make sure that they get it.
Garth.
Garth. Okay.
Garth. V as in Victor. O I S as in Sam. I N as in Nancy.
I definitely have a feeling that a lot of people are going to want to book you and have you as a coach. But I do have a question for you. You was just saying, you was talking about, you also coach, young men and stuff like that. Do you only coach guys or do you also coach women?
Mainly the guys off of the website. I think because, like I said, I want to be able to give them that form and that environment. I've had women that I do coach, but not off of the website, more or less. I think the website does have a lot more women following the website that read the stuff. I think they want to know and they want to kind of get the insights. And the guys that do actually send some stuff, they do the same thing. But the reason why I said like the young men and stuff like that too, because like my son and I went live on Instagram one time to have a conversation because some of his friends and I had conversations. So I do that as well. I think the website is mainly for that. Instagram or on Facebook. I mean, like I say, it's not mainly for men, but the forum I created the forum initially for men because I feel as though they needed a platform.
I definitely feel that too. I have 2 boys, so having fellas that's doing the right things and that can help guide them and give them some insight and everything is definitely a good thing. How old is your son?
How old?
Yeah.
22.
He's 22. Okay. I've seen a lot of pictures of him. I just didn't know his age.
Yeah. He's tell me he's getting old.
He is getting old. He's 22. He's getting old. He's getting up there. Yeah.
We're not moving, but they're getting old. I don't know.
Exactly. Right. So he helps you with all of your social media and stuff like that?
Yeah, he when he finds time to help me.
Right.
Sometimes I have other people do some stuff on there, but mainly I like to be on social media for myself because I kind of want to stay connected.
Yeah.
But like there's some little things I kind of delegate to him.
Yeah.
He comes through every time, which is good, so I appreciate that. Even for some stuff I'm working on right now, he did come through yesterday with a nice little, get up for later on for the interview tonight. But yeah, he's into it. Like, I mean, I've always believed if they're professionals doing stuff and they're good at what they do, like help them, So,
yeah. So are we going to be seeing a TikTok of you soon? No. Okay. I had to do one with my kids because they thought that they had me in dancing.
I think if my son was with me all the time, I think he might have made me do one or me to do one. So I think that might have happened. But nah, I don't.
I had to tell my kids, I said, what? He was like, they was teaching me the dance routine, and he was like, I'm gonna show you this 4 count, and then he showed it to me, and he was like, wow, you caught it so fast. I said, do you forget that I'm like a touring artist, dancer? Like, I mean,
no,
my knee would hurt.
Remember to let me just mom.
Right. They was shocked.
To me, to everybody else, you're a performer, you're an artist, like that. But to them, you're just mom. Like to me, to him, I'm just dad. Like, dad, why you ask me all that? You should know.
Yeah.
Like, well, next time I'll just Google it. I won't pay you. I'll Google it.
Right.
Right.
Well, I want to thank you so much for taking the time out to speak to us on Transparency Talks podcast. I truly appreciate your time.
I appreciate you for having me on. I appreciate you. I like the stuff that you're doing. I think this is definitely something that helps to build another forum for people to talk openly about stuff. And that's part of my mission as well with men. So I definitely appreciate you having me on. I think it was a nice conversation.
Definitely.
Hopefully we'll have it again. I will have to reach out to you soon because, I'm starting this new thing, flipping the script. So let's see what happens.
Okay. And I'm going to be contacting you about, I think I had initially talked to you a little bit about some projects that I'm working on. So I'm going to be getting in contact with you as well. So we will be seeing each other soon.
Sounds good.
All right. Thank you so much, and I'll talk to you later.
Have a good one.
Bye.
Operator, can you save me? Read out the number that page me. Hit speed down, running out of time. Hope I can reach you, make it mine. Nobody move, don't make a sound. Got a connection in the background, but the static's loud. Lines across, all of a sudden the call was lost. Call 911, calling hot for you, struck by love.